Today we need to get into ARMY's trending prayers and what happened with that. We have V believed to have been injured during the Paris riot, and then we have Jung Kook getting robbed everywhere. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumpling, taste Big Mug merch, and let's go. If you are not aware of the recent posters and Jung Kook's solo comeback for 7, Jung Kook is being pasted on the walls all over the world. You'll see the ones where he is covering his face a bit, and then there's ones where it's just his outfit but it's on a chair. These are really great promos and they look so cool. Obviously this will bring up the hype for the song, and many ARMYs walking by on the day-to-day to work or school are going to be reminded that this song is about to drop. This actually became an issue, and I was very surprised to hear that this was something that was happening. So what happened? Well, something I think HYBE did not plan for or expect was that people were going to attempt to rob and steal the posters from the wall. So these posts are literally just big pieces of paper that are glued onto a wall. This is not a billboard or a poster that are at like the storefront and behind a glass. So this makes it easier to rob. And you could even plan to rip the poster off at like 2 a.m. when no one is on the street, which seems like what some people have attempted to do. Some ARMYs on TikTok or wherever have even shown them driving by ripped posters. So the poster was ripped from the bottom, and it seemed like someone was trying to peel it off. When they realized it was only ripping, they decided to leave it alone. This reminds me of the situation a little while ago where someone stole the Taeyang and Jung Kook photo from the James Corden set. It was likely an audience member and they really wanted the photo, so they just took it. I really get very upset when I hear about some of these things happening because these things are meant for everyone. So everyone now can see that a cute Taekook photo exists when they enter the set, because it was basically a wall of fame for all celebrities who have left their photo. But then even more than that, leaving my emotions out of it, this is really bad for the career of the boys. If you genuinely care about the boys, you would not attempt to do this. That wall is meant so people coming in can see celebrities and be reminded of said celebrity. I would also imagine it's a place where new people coming in are able to quote-unquote meet and discover a new celebrity that they may not have ever heard of. The same goes with trying to take a Jung Kook poster off the wall. His single is coming back. If everyone took the poster off the wall, you're literally hurting Jung Kook's promotional budget, but this was a part of the rollout experience for ARMY. This was also his plan to roll out the song. If he runs out of posters, he's not going to go and buy more and put them up. The rest of the budget that he had to do this is all allocated somewhere else already. And so if the posters all get taken down before they do what they were intended to do, which is drum up hype, Jung Kook wastes his money and he gets no hype or less hype. So don't be selfish. Let's all be able to enjoy the things Jung Kook is doing for all of us. Also, I think you can probably find the posters online to buy, but do that at your own discretion. I don't know which sites are legit. But I am very excited for the upcoming solo stuff, and if you would like to join me and a bunch of other ARMYs on Patreon to come together and fangirl over Jung Kook and other BTS members' music, check out the Patreon. I will link it below in the description. We already have reacted to so many of the members' solo comebacks and will do more. There's a $1 tier with limited spots, so I hope to see you there. But Jung Kook is not only the only one having some fun in the sun. Taeyang has been doing his own activities and he's been really successful. It's been weird, and I'll explain, but he has for sure been successful. He recently went to Paris for the Celine fashion show. Prayers for V started to trend, and people were basically asking V to be careful while he was in Paris. But people were annoyed by this, and I think I understand a little bit. Obviously, Taeyang and all the BTS boys fly a lot, and there is this stigma that flying isn't safe. And so people are cautious and nervous when someone flies a lot. So people were angry that Celine even asked V to head over when the protests and riots were happening or were about to happen. I'm not sure. However, there's nothing Celine could do to control that or even predict that it would get so out of hand like it did. Celine then made a statement online being really upset about everything, obviously, understanding that a cancellation for a show is not something anyone wants to do, but doing so is obviously for the safety of everyone. But I think people were more upset that it was happening amidst everything rather than it being canceled. However, flying is not as big of a deal as the media tends to make it. Let me explain why, and let me explain the media in general. The media reports on things that get views and get people clicking. If I were to make a video or an article about just your everyday car crash, car accident, whatever, you probably wouldn't even click on it. You wouldn't read it. It's just not interesting, unless it's maybe like a bus that crashed and killed 50 people. Because a car accident happens all the time. Many of you have probably even been driving by a car accident on your way to work today. However, why is it that the media reports on plane crashes? Because it's more rare and we're not so used to seeing it, which is why it's interesting to us. But that also means it's not as common and way less likely to happen in general. So don't be worried about BTS. So I also want to talk about what is going on in Paris and why people were extremely concerned over V getting injured. If you're not aware, within the last few days, there's been some intense protests going on. If you're within the States, this is very similar to the situation with the Black Lives Matter movement. There's of course the more peaceful protests going on, and since the economy is so bad and many don't have well-paying jobs or even jobs in general, a lot of people are using the protest as an excuse to be violent. I don't believe the protest itself was intended to be violent, although I will say this is a good way to drum up media attention because the images are quite shocking. People are setting fire to buses, dangerous things like that. So what caused this? Well, apparently a police officer pulled over a 17-year-old kid. They thought the kid violated street traffic laws. They asked the kid to do something. The police officers felt like the kid did not obey and they shot him dead. This is a very intense situation. I don't believe the situation involves race, but it then became a protest involving police brutality in the area. This is scary to think about, that around the same time this is going on, you have Tang over here in the same area and he's possibly being caught up in all that. Many were then concerned if Tang was ever injured or hurt. However, as I mentioned before, he was spotted at Incheon airport later and was documented being okay. This brought up a lot of conversation on whether Tang can fend for himself in such a situation, and should you be concerned? Of course you should not be concerned, and I get a little sad that this is the only thing that would make some people in the fandom care, because it's a big issue going around and police brutality is something that has been a struggle everywhere. A lot of people in the fandom didn't really care about Black Lives Matter until BTS donated to it. And we know this as a fact because there's parts of the fandom that doesn't treat black people well. This is just how it is sometimes within K-pop. But it irks me that there's potentially people getting injured, but the only way for a select group of people to care is if Taeyang is there. And mind you, I think people forget that Taeyang is a multi-millionaire with likely the ability to simply get himself picked up should any situation like this happen. If there's a riot protest going on, the rioters are likely not attacking cars or specific people in the car. Their protest is with the city, and even rioters care about making noise to the city officials. Their gripe is not with the everyday people. So if Taeyang is in a car while this is happening, he simply can just reverse the car and go another way. He can also just make it back to his hotel and then simply just get picked up from there and run away. He will not be stuck there and has all the resources to secure an exit. Luckily, Taeyang did not get injured by anything and he left pretty soon and right away. It seemed like Taeyang was pretty far from the protest in general and then left when things got really bad. There's also this idea that even if Celine did choose to continue the show and not cancel, Taeyang could have been likely pulled away from the show by HYBE if HYBE deemed it was unsafe. So anyone who was currently by Taeyang's side, either a makeup artist, manager, publicist, or anyone who was starting to notice the protest was bad, would make a call to HYBE asking them to get everyone back to Seoul. Because it's not just Taeyang. Obviously, a manager is not going to want to be set on fire too. So just be aware that there's so many people looking out for an artist, especially at that level, and don't be too concerned about their well-being. They will be okay. They've always had safety people on set, and those people to make sure that there's safe working conditions. There's now even added people for things like COVID. And then on top of that, things like the entertainment unions would also be one of the first people to be contacted when safety is involved. So let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.